all set and recording. Oops, you're muted.
We are live.
Thank you, Ms. Noyola. All right, well, with that, I will convene the Tuesday, July 20th, Washington County Board of Commissioners to order. Will the recorder please make our announcement and call the roll?
The Board of County Commissioners, also serving as the governing body of Clean Water Services and all other county service districts, is now meeting in regular business, July 20th, 2021. Commissioner Fye?
Here.
Commissioner Woolley?
Here.
Commissioner Rogers?
Here.
Commissioner Treese?
Here.
Chair Harrington?
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. I have two brief announcements for agenda updates. Item C, as in Charlie, 16 has been removed from the consent agenda, and item E, as in Epsilon 2, under public hearings, has been pulled from the agenda as well. Are there any other last minute changes that I may have missed because I forgot to look at email before the meeting? No? All righty. So then we'll move forward with public communications. Board clerk, do we have anyone signed up today?
We have no one signed up, Chair.
Thank you. So next we'll move on to the consent agenda. And if my count is correct, we have 21 items on today's consent agenda. 2 sets of board minutes, 2 items from Clean Water Services, 6 items under Land Use and Transportation, 3 items under Health and Human Services, 4 items under Support Services, 1 item under County Council Support Services, 1 item from County Administrative Office, 1 item from the Sheriff's Office, 1 item under Housing Services. What are the wishes of the commission or any questions or comments?
Move for approval of the consent agenda with the 2 items removed that you mentioned earlier.
Second.
It's actually 1 item on the consent agenda was removed. The other one was under public hearing. So I'll take that as a friendly amendment to the motion and the second. Thank you, Commissioner Rogers and Commissioner Treese. With that, everyone in favor of adopting today's consent agenda, please vote by saying aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Thank you, commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 5-0. Next, we'll move on to proclamations. And today we have a proclamation from our Community Corrections and Juvenile Justice Community Department. So I would like to turn it over to our wonderful staff. Hello, Ms. Schroeder. And there's Mr. Berger. Oh, pardon me, Ms. Angie. If you'd like to do the introductions, my apologies.
No worries. I would like to turn it over to Lynn and Steve and appreciate them being here today.
Thank you so much, Chair Harrington and commissioners, for this opportunity to celebrate with you, our juvenile justice professionals and our probation and parole professionals. This year, the week-long celebration coincides with the beginning of our return to work together in the office. And it has been joyful to reconnect face-to-face with these extraordinary professionals. They spent the last year navigating the maze of how to keep themselves, their families safe, while also figuring out how to do their job, supervise youth in the community, keep supporting the youth and the families and who have been very disconnected from school and other social systems. So it's been a challenge. What I know is that our juvenile justice professionals continue to care deeply about the youth and families and victims with whom we support. They are fixers, they're motivators, they're encouragers. They connect youth and parents with mentors, counselors, school and job opportunities. They mediate youth and parent conflicts, creatively engage youth in ways to learn and grow. And then they become the disciplinarian when it is necessary for community safety. What happened for us in juvenile justice is that the pandemic resulted in fewer youth receiving referrals to the system. And part of that was they weren't in school, they weren't hanging out with each other. There weren't as many difficult influences. But it didn't impact the disproportionate representation of youth of color in our juvenile justice population or in the impact on crime on communities of color. And so throughout this, juvenile justice professionals continue to work to connect youth, families, and victims with the support systems to empower them and help them heal. I do want to say, as challenging as this work is, it is also deeply rewarding. Despite the pandemic, we have had more youth referred to and graduate from our juvenile drug court. We've been able to continue our relationships with community organizations that provide family navigation and mentoring services. We began a new early intervention program that you all heard about a few weeks ago for middle school aged youth with our partners POIC and Latino Network. And we completed work to establish a solid connection with school partners to keep justice-involved youth in schools. Soon we're going to begin our new diversion project to work with front-end youth. So lots is happening, and these community programs and community relationships help make our work all that more effective. I just want to say I am very proud of the Washington County Juvenile Department staff and deeply honored to do this important work alongside them. I so appreciate the support of the board and the county for our staff and department work. Thank you so much for the proclamation today, and thank you for your time.
Good morning, Chair Harrington and commissioners, and I as well wish to express my gratitude for the proclamation. We are proud of our community corrections team and appreciate the opportunity to recognize our department professionals working to hold justice-involved individuals accountable and making victims whole. They do amazing work to keep our communities safe, especially during this last year and a half where we've had to face new challenges and be resilient. And our staff have been just amazing in their response to providing continuing services and addressing the issues of the COVID pandemic. This week, July 18th through the 24th, people across the United States and Canada will join together to recognize the work that probation, parole, and community supervision professionals do for our community. The theme for Community Corrections and Juvenile Justice Community Supervision Week is restoring trust and creating hope. Working together makes for stronger bonds between colleagues, community partners, and those under our supervision. Today in America, there's over 5 million adults on community supervision, and community corrections professionals are true change agents and often silent partners, yet we spend more time with our clients than most other agencies. Here in Washington County, our department employs 141 professionals supervising over 3,200 adults on probation, parole, and post-prison supervision. We carry out our community supervision and monitoring through the Community Corrections Center, our Counseling and Victim Services program, and probation and parole field supervision activities such as home contacts, drug testing, making sure those under supervision attend counseling sessions, and helping them find suitable housing and employment. Community Corrections and Juvenile Justice Community Supervision Week is a time to celebrate and honor these dedicated professionals in our community who work tirelessly to assist justice-involved individuals becoming better citizens who make our neighborhoods safer and more vibrant places to live. Thank you very much for the proclamation and acknowledging their great work. Thank you.
Commissioners, before we move on to the reading of the proclamation for your consideration, do you have any questions or comments on what you've heard today from our staff that you want to make now versus after we've read and adopted? Go ahead, Commissioner Willie.
Well, I'd just like to say thank you, especially to Steve and Lynn. This program is really hugely successful. I'm encouraged every time I hear a report from the two of you, and the success of this program is just amazing. But it is also significantly in part of your two's commitment to making this program successful and the work that you do. So I just want to say thank you. We're very happy to make this proclamation, but we're very also happy that we have two people like you that are committed to making these programs successful. So thanks for your hard work. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Any other commissioners at this juncture? Okay. I have a question, and I'm going to ask now. I realize I can go back and watch the YouTube video of today's meeting, but Steve, you said something that I didn't fully internalize, and I think it's important for me to hear it again before we have Ms. Noyola read the proclamation. And during your comments, there was a word that preceded the word trust and creating hope. And as I heard it go by, I was like, oh, my heart just embraced that. But I missed part of it. Is there any chance you can run that by me again?
Certainly, Chair Harrington. That was the theme that the American Probation and Parole Association has identified for this week of honoring these professionals. And the theme is restoring trust and creating hope.
Yep.
And the idea behind that is that, restoring trust and creating hope, working together makes for strong bonds between our community partners, our colleagues, and all of those that come together to provide supervision and services to those under supervision.
Thank you. Thank you. I did look back at the proclamation trying to find that theme, and I didn't see it. And so I appreciate your helping me with that. And then before I'll just say my comment now versus later, I join Commissioner Willie in his comments. The level of programs and investment that Washington County makes is a choice that the board makes through our budget process with your subject matter expertise and guidance. And I can summarize it as continuously embracing best practices and evidence-based excellence, but even more so, your two teams apply that, the implementation at a high level of excellence. You're an exemplary set of leaders leading to extraordinary large domains of work, and I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. And with that, to our recorder, if you could please read our proclamation.
Yes. A proclamation in Adult and Juvenile Community Supervision Week. Whereas adult and juvenile community supervision is an essential part of the justice system, and whereas community corrections and juvenile justice professionals uphold the law with dignity while recognizing the right of the public to be safeguarded from criminal activity, and whereas community corrections and juvenile justice professionals recognize the disparate impact the justice system has had on our Black and Indigenous people of color and those who have been historically marginalized, and advocate for equitable and fair treatment for all. And whereas community corrections and juvenile justice professionals are responsible for supervising adult and juvenile justice involved individuals in the community, and whereas community corrections and juvenile justice professionals are trained professionals who provide services and referrals for juvenile justice involved individuals, and whereas community corrections and juvenile justice professionals work in partnership with community agencies and groups, and whereas community corrections and juvenile justice professionals promote prevention, intervention, and advocacy, and whereas community corrections and juvenile justice professionals provide services, support, and protection for victims, and whereas community corrections and juvenile justice professionals advocate for community and restorative justice, and whereas community corrections and juvenile justice professionals are a true force for positive change in their communities. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Washington County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim July 18th through July 24th, 2021 as Adult and Juvenile Community Supervision Week and calls upon the people of Washington County to honor these community corrections and juvenile justice professionals and to recognize their achievements.
Thank you, Ms. Noyola. Commissioners, what are your wishes?
Move to accept the proclamation, and proudly so. I want to thank Lynn and Stephen, all of your people and the individuals that you work with for your commitment to restorative justice and dignity. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you.
And I second that.
Thank you. Any other comments from commissioners before we take a vote on the proposed motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please vote by saying aye or raise your hand. Thank you, commissioners. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously 5-0. And thank you to Ms. Schroeder and Mr. Berger for being here with us today in this marvelous work you do on behalf of our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Next, we'll move on to public hearings. We have 4 public hearings today. Once again, item 2 has been pulled, so we have item 1, 3, 4, and 5. So our first public hearing today is with Clean Water Services. And I see that Ms. Diane Taniguchi, despite being on vacation, is here with us today. So it's not a land use ordinance. So let me just check to see with Mr. Linder, the lawyer for Clean Water Services, do we need to read this? Do we need a motion to read it by title only?
No.
Okay, so with that, today we're going to hold a public hearing and adopt it's a resolution in order. I stand corrected. Thank you. A resolution in order to approve the Clean Water Services pay plan for non-represented and represented employees for fiscal year 2021-22. And thank you. With that, I've caught up with myself and the meeting. So, is there a staff report first? Hello, Ms. Dober. I see you've joined us as well. But Ms. Taniguchi, Dennis, let me turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Harrington, and good morning, Board of Clean Water Services. We're real pleased to be able to present our resolution in order for the Clean Water Services pay plan for both our non-represented and represented employees for this next fiscal year. And Holly Dober is with us, and she will be presenting the staff report. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. And thank you, Madam Chair Harrington and Commissioners. Thank you for having me today. My name is Holly Dober. I'm the Director of Human Resources and Risk Management for Clean Water Services. I'd first like to start by acknowledging the employees at Clean Water Services. They are collaborative, innovative, and hardworking individuals who provide services to the community 24/7, 365. So I'd like to thank all of the employees for the work that they do for the community. Before you is the item for the public hearing to adopt resolution and order approving Clean Water Services pay plan for non-represented and represented employees for fiscal year 2021 to 2022. As required in the district's employment policies and guidelines, the district is recommending that the board adopt the pay plan establishing salaries for non-represented and represented employees based on the adopted budget on June 15th, 2021. Both pay plans represent a 2% increase to the market points in the salary ranges. The district utilizes a performance-based pay compensation system, and employees may receive pay increases through the annual performance appraisal process. District employees do not receive an automatic cost of living adjustment, nor do they receive step increases. Therefore, no individual increases will occur as a result of the range movement. And with that, do you have any questions or comments?
I know I don't, and I don't see any commissioners going off mute or raising their hand. Thank you. All right, so with that, commissioners, we have a resolution in order. What are the wishes of the commission relative to this resolution? Do we have a motion?
Chair,
Yes,
You'll
ma'am.
have to
Oh,
open the
I have
public
to
hearing.
open a public hearing. Good grief. Getting ahead of myself yet again. Thank you. This is why we have a board clerk, to make sure I do things right, even when I make mistakes. Thank you. So next we'll open a public hearing. Ms. Niola, is there anyone who is signed up or is in attendance now for public comment?
We have no one signed up.
All right, going once, going twice. And with that, I will close the public hearing. And now, commissioners.
Motion to approve requested action.
We have a motion from Commissioner Willie, a second from Commissioner Rogers. Any last questions or comments before we take a vote? All righty then. All those in favor of adopting today's resolution, please say aye or raise your hand. Thank you, commissioners. Anyone opposed? And the resolution passes 5-0 unanimously. Thank you, commissioners. Next, we will move on to item E3, which is a transfer of property to transfer the jurisdiction of portions of Northeast 69th Avenue and Northeast Katama Road to the city of Hillsborough as County Road 3333T/J. And this is also a resolution and order. So first, Ms. Angie, do we have a staff report?
Sorry, my mouse was sleeping and I couldn't. Stephen Roberts is here.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. And Scott Young is with us. Scott's our county surveyor. I'm actually going to ask Scott to just give a very quick statement, and then we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have before you take action and open the public hearing. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Harrington and Commissioners.
Welcome.
I'm Scott Young, the county surveyor, filling in today for Stacy Shetler, the county engineer. The item before you is a request to transfer jurisdiction of 69th Avenue and Katama Street in the Orenco development area to the city of Hillsborough. The city has requested the transfer through a city resolution, and now is the time for Washington County to act. The portions of the identified roadways as shown on the Exhibit B are within the city of Hillsborough and have been identified in the county transportation system plan as being roads that should be transferred to the city. 69th Avenue, north of Rock Creek, was previously transferred to the city of Hillsborough. This transfer will shift the responsibilities for maintenance, construction, repair, and jurisdiction over these roads to the city. Therefore, we request the board, A, conduct the requested or the required public hearing, and B, approve the resolution in order transferring jurisdiction. This concludes the staff report, and I can answer any questions at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Young. And Mr. Roberts, for my own vernacular or understanding, I appreciate, as Mr. Young said, that the Washington County TSP identifies that this road portion is one that should be transferred to the city of Hillsborough. I often think as a member of this board about our map or our collection of roads of county significance, those being arterials and some of the collectors here in the county. So am I correct in now understanding that this road is not one of those collectors of or arterials of county significance? Or have I conflated a couple of?
Yeah, so I think we're talking about two separate maps. So in the county transportation system plan, there's a map that specifically identifies a set of roadways that we anticipate long-term should remain under county jurisdiction, or in some cases state jurisdiction. So those are both identified there. And then the map that you're referring to about the roads of countywide significance has been developed more informally as an eligibility assessment tool for the MSTIP program. So assessing which countywide roads within the county provide some sort of a more significant function than, say, a more localized roadway, and therefore might be considered eligible for MSTIP funding.
Okay, so I would ask assistance from you and your organization to please have a short briefing with me. It's important that I get it correct. So this isn't urgent, but it is important that I get this straight in my head as we move forward. So if you could help close that with me, that would be awesome. Thank you so much. Are there any other board questions? Okay, so with that, we'll open a public hearing to our board clerk. Do we have anyone signed up for today on this public hearing?
We have no one signed up, but if there's anyone on Zoom that would like to speak, please raise your hand. Don't see any.
Thank you very much. And with that, we will close today's public hearing. What are the wishes of the board?
A quick comment. First of all, it's always great when cities will take on that responsibility for those roads that are not critical to the countywide system, which this is not. So thank you to Hillsborough, and I would be delighted to second Commissioner Willey's motion since it's in his district.
So moved then.
So we have a motion from Commissioner Willey, seconded by Commissioner Rogers. Any other board comments on this or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, commissioners. Anyone opposed? The motion carries unanimously 5-0. Thank you. Next, we'll move on to E4. That is, we're going to be holding a public hearing to approve the resolution and order to authorize interfund loans. So first, I will call on Mr. Jack Leong for a brief staff report. Welcome, Jack.
Good morning, Chair Harrington. Good morning, commissioners. Thank you very much for your time this morning. As you're describing, this particular public hearing is related with interfund loans. And we have 3 interfund loans included in this agenda for 2 separate efforts. The first interfund loan is a $600,000 from General Fund, Fund 100, to Emergency Communication System Fund 359, which is a capital project fund. This is a capital project that is related with the emergency communication systems, the 911 center that is operated by WACA. And we obviously has briefed your board on some funding shortfalls, and this is one of a few funding solutions that will actually help the county complete the project and ensure the county has a very sophisticated and future-resistant WACA 911 center for the community's benefit. The amount of loan will be $600,000. The interest accrued on that will be 0.6% according to our latest Oregon pool rate. And the loan is anticipated to be repaid from the future public safety levy from the year 2026 to 2031. And for the second effort is related with the supportive housing services revenue fund, and that is the supportive housing services that is ramping up to become a community program, but at the same time the tax funding has not came in yet. So this is an operating loan that provides supportive housing services the operating cash flow to get the program started, get the contract started, and get some program started, and then this loan will be repaid by the tax revenue anticipated to be received in fiscal year 21-22. And this is because this is an operating loan that will be repaid within 1 year, we did not put interest on it. So the loan will come from two separate funds within the county's funds that has the fund balance to provide the loan. And that includes one portion from the Strategic Investment Program Fund, Fund 204, and that amount is $10 million. And then another portion from the Gain Share Fund, Fund 205, and that portion is $2.5 million, with a combine of $12.5 million to support the Supportive Housing Services Fund. So that concludes the staff report, and I recommend your board to open a public hearing and considering adopting the resolution in order to authorize these three interfund loans. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Leong. I really appreciated your summary today and that of the written material in our packet. Are there any board questions from the staff report? Seeing none, I'd like to open a public hearing and to our board clerk.
We have no one signed up, but if there are any attendees who wish to speak on this topic, please raise your hand. I see none.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if, as a member of the public, if I would have found the raise hand feature that quickly, so I'll have to do an experiment with you sometime to make sure we're waiting long enough. Timing is everything, as they say. All right, with that, I'll close today's public hearing. What are the wishes of the commission for today's resolution and order authorizing this set of interfund loans?
Motion for approval.
Thank you, Commissioner Willie. There's a second from Commissioner Treese. Any board comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please vote by saying aye or raise your hand. Thank you, commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 5-0. Thank you, colleagues. Next, we'll move on to item E5, to approve the resolution in order to adopt the fiscal year 2021-2022 Washington County supplemental budget. And this is necessary for changes that are over 10%. So I'll turn it over to our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Jack Leong, of which I know I am rather fond of his leadership. So take it away, Mr. Leong.
Thank you, Chair Harrington. As you were describing, this is the resolution in order to adopt the fiscal year 21-22 Washington County supplemental budget. I'd like to point out that this is not one of our regularly scheduled supplemental budget yet. This is actually one that's added in special for the Supportive Housing Services Fund. And this is specifically related to the two interfund loans that relates to the Supportive Housing Fund. So within this supplemental budget, the details are included in Exhibit A, and we have both revenues and expenditures in the Strategic Investment Program, as well as the Gain Share Program, to allow appropriation to provide the interfund loan, as well as to collect the repayment of the loan coming back. And also we have the revenues coming into the Supportive Housing Fund that is going into to reflect the loan, and then the repayment of the loan coming back. So it's essentially a net zero on the revenue and the expenditure side for all three funds. And with that, that concludes the staff report, and I recommend you to open a public hearing and consider adopting this resolution in order to approve the supplemental budget. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Leong, and thank you for making sure that not only do we follow good public policy and Oregon required proceedings, but that you make sure we're all, along with our general public, mindful of why we do this work and how you do a great job of it. Commissioners, we're going to move on to a public hearing. So I'd like to open a public hearing. Ms. Nyola, our board clerk for today, is there anyone signed up to testify?
We have no one signed up, but if there are any attendees who wish to speak on this topic, please raise your hand.
Thank you. And I see that the raise hand feature is staring me right in the face on the convenient toolbar. Thank you. With that, we'll close today's public hearing. What are the wishes of the commission with regard to this resolution and order?
So move the requested action.
Thank you, Commissioner Willie. Do we have a second? Thank you, Commissioner Rogers. We have a motion from Commissioner Willie and a second from Commissioner Rogers. All those in favor, please vote by saying aye or raise your hand. Thank you, commissioners. Any opposed? The resolution and order passes unanimously 5-0. Thank you, colleagues. Next, we will move on to the action portion of our meeting. We have one item here with regard to adopting the Center for Addictions Triage and Treatment Feasibility Assessment. I'd like to turn it over to our subject matter experts from our great Health and Human Services Department, starting with Ms. Marnie Kyle.
Good morning, Chair Harrington and board. And I am just going to turn it over to Nicole Kuhn, who will just give you a really brief staff report. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Harrington. Good morning,
Welcome.
Commissioners. Hello. I think we can go on to the next slide really quick. So for today, we're just going to do a really quick project overview and just to discuss the requested actions of the board today. Kristen Burke did a very in-depth presentation on the feasibility study last week, and we just wanted to come back to you with some requested actions and to be available for any additional questions. Next. So for a very brief project overview, this has been a 2-year process, really with the goal of a ground-up design of this Center for Addictions Treatment and Triage. This has been a community-led effort, and we've gotten the feedback of over 180 community members involved. That has led to the feasibility study that we submitted to the board. That's titled The Creation of a Center for Addictions Triage and Treatment. And the board has been briefed 4 different times on this project as we've been moving forward. Next slide, please. At a high level, the CAT concept is really to create a Center for Addictions Treatment that offers rapid access to multiple types of substance use treatment. Services would include sobering, withdrawal management, residential treatment, stabilization, assessment and triage, and co-located supports, really trying to bring some very, very comprehensive supports to our community, as we've spoken about previously. And so next slide. Our requested actions and next steps today are for the board to take action to adopt the feasibility study and to receive board approval for staff to begin identifying potential property. Upon approval for these first 2 actions, we'll be working on the other bullets that are detailed here to get new work groups going, to really monitor and apply for grant opportunities, and also to actively begin the provider selection for the program. And that was the conclusion of the very brief staff report today. I'm available for questions, and we can also pull Kristen Burke forward for questions as well if the board has any. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Acone. Commissioners, questions, comments, motion to adopt? Commissioner Willie, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this program moving ahead. There's been a lot of work done and great opportunity. This is certainly a service that we desperately need in Washington County, and I appreciate the work that's been put in advance right now, and certainly recommend we move ahead on the next requested action. So that would I will put that in the form of a motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Willie. Commissioner Treese.
I would like to second that motion and thank the department for all the work. This is something that's absolutely necessary for our community, and I appreciate all of your work.
Great. Are there any other board questions or comments before I call the vote on the motion? Seeing none, I just want to thank the team for this excellent work. The Center for Addiction Triage and Treatment Feasibility Study really shows our community that there is an extraordinary level of need here in our community and outlines that very well and allows us to move forward in a way that is very mindful of where we stand with regard to community need and support for the community. I appreciate that this is a community developed solution set. We have a roster of potential options that are included there. And I'm really anxious for us to get on with it, to move forward, because tick tock, every day is a day in someone's life. There are many someones who need additional help to get their lives back on track, if I could use that phrase, because we know that life is finite. It is not an infinite time frame. So today we have a motion to adopt the feasibility study for the Center for Addictions Triage and Treatment. And with that, the motion includes directing staff to move forward with the potential identification of a property for the project. All those in favor, please vote by saying aye or raise your hand. Thank you, commissioners. Any opposed? Seeing none, it is unanimous. The board approves the feasibility study. Go forth as soon as you can, staff, and help us make this happen. I'm very, very proud of your work. Appreciate that of each of you as well as our community members.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Next, we have our second opportunity for public comment, our 5-minute time period. Ms. Niola, our board clerk, do we have anyone signed up or wishing to speak now here in the meeting?
Yes, we have one person. His name is Keith. I had my eye on him and I don't see him anymore. Okay.
I didn't hear that. Is he still here?
Anna, I see Keith in the attendee with his hand up.
Great. Could we advance him?
Since he's using an older version of Zoom, I promoted him to a panelist. Keith?
Keith, welcome. The floor is yours for up to 5 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here and letting me speak. My name is Keith Haxton. I am a disabled veteran. I'm a 6-year resident of Washington County. I'm also a longtime political activist. And today I'm here because I'm a chief petitioner and chief petitioner and a campaign manager for ranked choice voting for Washington County. That is a new ballot initiative campaign here in Washington County. Ranked choice voting is a system that allows people to rank the candidates that they want to vote for in order of preference, first, second, third. What it does is it eliminates the spoiler effect. It allows more voters to have an influence on choosing the winning candidate. It also saves voters time and money by eliminating costly runoff elections. So ranked choice voting for Washington County, obviously, as its name implies, is a goal. It's an organization whose goal is to get ranked choice voting for Washington County. We're going to do that by collecting signatures, but we're also here to ask for your support because you can save us having to collect those 20,000 signatures by doing what our ballot initiative would do, but just voting on it yourselves, referring it to the ballot, which is a charter amendment that would allow ranked choice voting for the county commissioners, county auditor, and sheriff. Ranked choice voting has broad support around the nation and around the world. It is used in elections in Australia, Ireland, the UK, Scotland, and many others. It is used in New York City, the Bay Area, San Francisco. It is used statewide in Maine and Alaska. and it is a movement that is growing. I just want to end this by saying that I look forward to talking with you all in the future about ranked choice voting, possibly scheduling meetings to talk about this more. And today is just maybe an introduction of me to you, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Haxton. I assume that our recorder has your contact information so that if commissioners wish to get help from their policy assistants to meet with you in the weeks ahead, that we have that information to get back in touch with you. And I see Anna is shaking her head. Yes, thank you. All right.
Thank you.
So thank you. Do we have anyone else signed up for us to address us today?
No, we have no one else signed up for the 5-minute oral communication.
Okay, so with that, we will close that item on the agenda. The next agenda item is board announcements, and true to form, I'll announce upcoming meetings. This Thursday, we have a roundtable, starts at 9 in the morning. On Tuesday, and that will be a face-to-face meeting. Tuesday, July 27th, we have our pair of meetings, and being that it is the last week of the year of the month, we have our work session in the afternoon and our board meeting in the evening. Then we're amazingly into the month of August already. Boy, 2021 is flying by. We have a pair of meetings on Tuesday, August 3rd. Work session at 8:30 in the morning, board meeting at 10. Thursday, August 5th, we have our monthly roundtable. And then August 10th, Tuesday, is our extended work session meeting that starts at 8:30. That's it for upcoming board meetings. Are there any other board announcements that we need to touch on this morning? Seeing none, I will just announce that as we adjourn our business meeting of today, we will restart our board work session at 1 p.m. Time certain with a presentation, but it is 11 a.m. and I should check with Ms. Angie to see if we want to reconvene earlier. Go ahead, Ms. Angie.
So Chair Harrington and board, one option could be to take a well-being break for 15 minutes and reconvene in work session at 11:15. We would have time then to hear item number 4 on the work session, Public Health Advisory Committee member appointments, as well as Planning Commission appointment discussion, item 5, then break. In the afternoon, it would be item 3 and 6. If that would work for the board.
Works for me, commissioners. Yep, great. So that's what we'll do. So is there a motion to adjourn today's business meeting? Thank you, Commissioner Rogers. Is there a second? Thank you, Commissioner Willie. All those in favor, please vote by saying aye or raise your hand. Thank you, commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 5-0. Our board meeting of Tuesday, July 20th, 2021 is hereby adjourned.
One
See
quick
you
question.
soon. Yes, sir.
Are we on this link when we come back in 15 minutes or back to the afternoon link?
Back to the morning Zoom link, the
Not the
morning
afternoon,
work session
morning
Zoom
one.
link. Yes,
All right.
sir. Okay, we'll see you at 11:15.
I'm sorry, we're going to be using the 1 p.m. link for both the reconvene
Okay.
and the 1 o'clock.
Oh, great. I stand corrected. It'll be the afternoon work session link. Thank you, recorder. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye.